Inside the Birds is back. What's up, everybody? It's Geoff Mosher alongside Adam Caplan. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got some Eagles in the news. Obviously, Nigel Bradham being released. We're going to talk about that. A bunch of Eagles who, in-house guys who will be hitting free agency in about a month. We'll talk about who's going to be retained, who's not going to be retained. And then, of course, there are some big names that people have linked to the Eagles. There's Darius Slay, there's Byron Jones, Stefon Diggs now suddenly in the news, Adam. This is what they call the silly season with the Combine starting next week.
Yeah, the Stefon Diggs thing, here's what happened. It turned out to be it's just really nonsense. What happened is he took, I guess off his Instagram, he took what team he was on and some stuff off there. So I guess someone caught it.
You can't scrub your social media clean a week before the Combine and not have people think something's up.
Yeah. So anyway, they're not trading him. They're not looking to trade him. They have the Vikings are really bad at receiver besides he and Adam Thielen. They just don't have any depth. No one used more two receiver sets than they did last season. We know what they are. They're a 12 personnel team. Mm-hmm. It's Thielen. They had to play that BC Johnson when Thielen got hurt. The other problem is his contract. Now, look, he's a good football player. Mm-hmm. He has his extension. What happened was, though, last season, now there's no question, there was an issue. He did not like the direction of the passing game. When they pulled the thing back, obviously that came from Zimmer in terms of what he wanted. And they were almost going to put up historically low passing attempts per game. That obviously impacts the amount of targets that Diggs got. And he decided not to show up for a practice. I think it was a Wednesday practice. And that obviously didn't sit well with them. He got fined for it. But it's a tradable contract. There's $9 million in dead money. It's not the end of the world. But it's a tradable contract, but you have to have a plan for him. And after what happened last season, I don't see it. There's been no talk of it. It's just the thing that came out on Tuesday. It was kind of funny. I was laughing. I'm like, I could see where this is going. And then so no, they're not in a position. And the other thing is that they got to start getting somewhere. It's been 3 years now since they made the championship game. Right. Remember, Mike Zimmer and Rick Spielman, the GM, they are on the final year of their deals. Though I think Zim's the one where you got to be concerned because he's on an option year. They got to get somewhere, and trading Diggs is not going to help them.
No, it's not. Although, we'll see. I mean, it is a very deep wide receiver class, but I suppose if somebody knocked their socks off. But obviously there's a lot of money involved in the contract extension that he just signed. So there would be absorption on their end, absorption on the team that grabs him. And so you're right. I think it's unlikely, but it's probably something that'll make more headlines next week when everybody's in Indianapolis at the Combine. You'll be there. So I just want to tell our listeners, we're going to continue to pump out Inside the Birds podcast. You'll be in Indianapolis. So when we do our 2 next week, you'll have a lot of juicy stuff, not only coming out of Eagles camp, Adam, but also the NFL, because certainly everybody in the NFL world is there. There's going to be a lot of guys. Last year, for example, I think it was the first day of the Combine that a story got leaked or a report got leaked about the Bengals potentially shopping John Ross. So there's always someone at the beginning of the Combine whose name comes up and all of a sudden becomes part of that discussion.
Oh, they shot. It's funny. The Bengals. It's funny when that story came out from my friend Tony Pauline. I actually talked to the Bengals about it. Very good source, and they laughed. They said, despite what the media thinks, the guys words we really like John. He played well before he got hurt last season. But injuries have been obviously a major factor in drop passes.
Right.
The Eagles have had some passing interest in him over the years. I'm not saying they ever made an offer, but I just know that they've had some interest, but it never went anywhere. Typically what happens is when you're looking for speed, you look at who's struggling and if you could prime away. Last year we told our listeners first about the Eagles were going to go after Deshaun. They actually did on 2 occasions. Mm-hmm. And speaking of the Eagles, they are again. This is a major factor. I'd mentioned over the last couple shows, I'm expecting 2 guys who could run. That's going to happen, Geoff. one way or the other through the draft and free agency. They're gonna eliminate this problem. It is a major issue. It's not a small issue.
No, it's here.
It's a
we've
major
talked about it for 2 years.
Bleeping issue. Yeah, it's
right.
They know it, and they did not help the quarterback Carson Wentz as well as they should have last season. And there's no more hoping that Deshaun Jackson stays healthy, hoping that Alshon Jeff comes back. None of that's going to matter when they with their free agent and draft plan. They're going to attack this issue in a big way.
By the way, you just gave me a headline for the podcast. It's going to be major bleeping issue. I like that. Let's sound the alarm. We will talk about that. I want to remind everyone, Adam, that as we've been announcing on past podcasts, and we will continue to let people know, we are getting closer to the launch of our Inside the Birds website. It's going to come out Monday, the 24th. I believe that's the date of that Monday, first day of the combine. We will have more information as far as what the URL is going to be and when exactly you can go and find it. But we're really excited about that. We're going to have lots of content. I think I'm most excited for the fact that your contributions are largely going to be a lot of NFL related stuff. Obviously we'll have a lot of Eagles content. That's what we do. But I'm really looking forward to you breaking into your NFL sources and giving us good NFL content. I think a lot of our readers who follow the Eagles are going to appreciate that. But also we're going to bring in a lot of viewers or readers who are fans of, other NFC East teams or other NFL teams. And, every good fan kind of has that side team anyway, that other team that they root for. So you'll have a lot of good stuff on that.
Well, right. And plus the fan, because our fans are so smart, they want to know what's going on in the NFC East.
Yes.
They want to know what's going on. Anything that could impact the Eagles. Yeah, we'll have it. Whether you break the news, I break the news, someone else does, we'll get it confirmed. We'll be able to talk about it. When I was at ESPN for 4.5 years, we didn't have a blog. Like there was really nowhere to go with. Like if I put a scoop out, it would be in my story, but I like long form, and because I was trying to get it out as quick as possible, it'd be like a line of text, 2 lines of text, and then I'd send it back to the news desk and I'd make it a little bit longer. But I never could really put my thoughts anywhere because other than Twitter. Now, if I was on TV that day, I could. If I broke the story, I could explain what I was reporting on SportsCenter or on NFL Insiders. But now, that was 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, there's really nowhere to put my information other than Twitter. But now with our website, I'm going to have thoughts. If the CBA gets done, I've got thoughts on it and how that's going to impact. We're going to talk in our next show, Geoff, about the changes that if the CBA does not get done by the start of free agency. I've got more information because this is pretty fascinating. It's a lot more detailed than I understood when I started checking into it. So we're just gonna we're gonna be able to delve into things that we just don't have. There's just not enough space on Twitter, and we could compose our thoughts and not feel rushed.
Yeah, I actually wanted to get in real quickly before the end of this podcast with some of the reports coming out today about the new CBA and how that's going to impact the playoff system. But let's dive right into the Nigel Bradham situation. Obviously, Adam Schefter had reported a couple of days ago that the Eagles were going to part ways with Nigel Bradham. And then the following day, which is weird that it took a day later, they announced that they were releasing him. It's something that you and I, and to be frank, a lot of people in the media kind of saw coming. But I think we need to importantly note here that, yes, they saved $4 million. It's not just a cap casualty situation here. His play had declined over the last 2 years. He really had not been the same player since 2017.
Yeah, no, but with Bradham, it's just weird. I don't quite understand. By the way, he had an option on his contract for 2020. I'm told it had to be exercised before March 18th, which means any time up and through March 17th. So I'm told that they told Rosenhaus and Bradham that they were going to decline the option, and then on Wednesday they released him. So I don't quite understand why they did this, because other than it's giving.
So you're saying it's not the same thing, right? Because if you decline an option, right? Yeah. You're right. There's a big difference in that.
Yeah. So an option, what it is you have a specific date by where you have to make a decision if it's a club option,
right?
And even if it's a player option, they have to tell that there's a certain date that the player would have to. At this point, it's a club option, and they had the language that was sent to me. It says exercise prior to the end of 2019, so that's through March 17th.
Right.
And by the way, here's another factor. for compensatory picks, the player cannot be released for you to get anything for him.
Correct. So that's the big difference.
I don't get that. Yeah, I don't. I'm puzzled by this thing. I mean, I was told specifically on let me see, Tuesday when this happened, when Adam put the information out that he was not released. He was actually declining their option. I was like, okay, well, that makes sense. And then someone mentioned me, he goes, it's almost certain to be for compensatory reasons. And by the way, I got the personnel notice, and it showed me on Wednesday. It said that the contract was terminated. So I don't understand.
If they had declined his option, then he technically wouldn't be a free agent until the first day of the new year, right?
Correct. But so, now this obviously helps him.
That helps Eagles in the
right. But how's it help the right? But how's it help the club if you terminate his contract? You don't get anything for him.
I'm wondering if he's a guy who helped them win a Super Bowl. The agent probably said, "Please give me a 2-week head start on this." Maybe Drew feels he's got some wants to get ahead of things. Linebacker is not a position where there's usually a lot of even good or upper echelon talent. Maybe they just felt that the best Nigel's going to do is a 1-year deal, and that there's really not much of a difference between declining and releasing. I mean, I think you and I can both agree he ain't going to get like a 3-year, $25 million, $40 million deal.
But for I'm just talking from a club standpoint for a compensatory pick. I for the life of me, I don't know if there's the only unless there's but they'd what I was thinking is that unless there's a different rule for the final league year of the CBA, unless it's
possible.
I mean, I don't know. It's just not like them to do this. Mm-hmm. But you're right. They would get a low round pick anyway because even if they decline the option and didn't release him, they're not going to get much back. Let's say it was a 6-round pick, but you'll take that. You'll take a 6-round pick. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
I just want. Well, they have a really good long-standing relationship, or at least over the last, since the TO debacle, they've had a pretty good relationship with Drew. So, and Drew represents a lot of guys who they're probably looking at this offseason or in the draft. So sometimes you do a you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours type of thing. And
I don't know. Bradham, I'll find out. I'll get it.
Yeah, we'll get that. So here's where it leaves the Eagles, because Camus Grugier-Hill is also set to be an unrestricted free agent. So technically right now, with KGH headed to free agency and not re-signed right now, the Eagles linebacker situation looks like Nate Gary as the dean, and then you've got TJ Edwards, Alex Singleton, and Duke Riley. That's the new nickname for Nate Gary. We're going to call him the dean.
He technically is. He's been there the longest. He's been their linebacker.
Like clearly by a long shot.
Well, Geoff, this is his final year of his rookie deal.
Right.
He was a college safety. This is not the first time they've ever done this. You might remember this is going back, by the way. This is going way back. Keenan Clayton. Never worked out for him. He was a college safety, moved to linebacker. Yep. When they were doing that, if you recall, Geoff, many, many years ago, they were keeping the philosophy of the late Jim Johnson to draft smaller players at linebacker, because they wanted guys who could run. You might remember when they traded for Ernie Sims.
Oh, I remember.
And I asked Sean McDermott, and I knew Sims' reputation was speed. He was incredibly fast. That's the famous line he came out with. Yeah, he's like a shark in the water.
Right.
That didn't work out so well for Sean on that one.
It didn't work out well for the Eagles, especially Eldra Buckley, who kept getting hit late
Eldra
in camp.
Buckley. Oh, my Sims. God. You didn't just bring that one up.
Dude, Eldra was Ernie's whipping boy, man. He would just hit him and hit him and hit him in these practice drills where he's supposed to be hitting guys. And, Ernie's was fast. And the problem was he didn't know how to harness his own speed. He overran a lot of plays, and they would kill him with the screens and the misdirection.
He's actually a coach now. It's funny. It's funny we bring him up. I saw his name brought up a week ago. He's coaching somewhere, but his problem was a lack of discipline, overrunning everything. Right. Yeah, he could just run. Yeah.
So you bring up a good point though, because and let's kind of fast forward here to what this means for the Eagles. I've been under the assumption that because they just don't value linebacker that much, and they only play one or two for most of the game, that they're just going to be able to. They might sign a veteran like they did last year, but maybe not, and they'll probably address it in the draft. But Howie does have a history of trading for guys, bargain deals, like getting Ernie Sims, like getting D'Amico Ryans, like getting I'm going to go even way back before D'Amico. Takeo Spikes is a guy that they brought.
Takeo Spikes, yeah, Right. But
Will Withers
Howie's
at the deadline,
right,
like in 2010.
Yeah. It's
So,
funny.
Do you think that that's the route he's looking to go right now, or do you just think that it's not even that important to them anymore?
It's funny. I believe it or not, it's so funny you bring up Will Witherspoon. I did he does a podcast.
No.
With he does a podcast. I did it last fall with former agent Mark. I can't think. You know the guy. He's from St. Louis. Guy actually was on the Eagles.
Yeah, I can see him, but I can't think of him. Go ahead.
Right. So anyway, Will's super nice. He's following me on Twitter. He was on the podcast. Yeah, he really nice guy. Played for the Panthers. Yeah. So Howie's moved since 2010. I'm looking at the chart that I put together. He does have a history, as you mentioned. The D'Amico Reinstray was terrific. That was a home run, no question. That was in 2012.
Probably his best move at linebacker ever since becoming the GM in 2010.
I would say D'Amico, yeah. And then obviously we know Chip Kelly loved him.
Yep.
Nigel Bradham was a free agent. There was a mid-level deal, folks. It wasn't a high-end deal. It was a mid-level deal.
Right.
I would say. Well, let me ask you a question. How now that he's gone, how would you evaluate that signing?
The first one or the last year's
extension? His time here in Philly.
Listen, he was incredible in 2017, and even for his deficiencies, they were able to be masked because he had good players around him. But there were certain games. That's the Carolina Panthers game, Week 5, that they went on the road. I just remember him making every single play on third down that would force the Panthers into a punt. I mean, he was huge for them. He obviously had to take on a bigger role when Jordan Hicks went down with the injury. So for the way he played in 2017 and for this team to win a Super Bowl and him being a big part of it, the mid-level deal he got, I thought was good. I mean, that's probably the second best linebacker transaction Howie's made behind D'Amico Ryans, and maybe you can argue it's the best. So
outside of the draft, I would agree with you. Although,
I would count the draft. Do you think?
Well, I don't know. Well, again, you have to. If we're talking about when he had control or didn't have control, he didn't really have control.
That's true. Because I don't consider Jordan Hicks his pick.
Correct. No, he had nothing to do with it. He was out. Howie was out in 15.
So it's just Michael Kendricks in the second round, unless you can think of something better.
Well, no, Andy made the call. Andy made the call on. He still had personnel control in 2012 before he got fired. The ones that this will be his 10th year as GM. His first year was 2010. The ones that worked out were Kendricks, clearly, at least whether he had control or not, at least he had the GM title.
Right.
Reinstray was terrific. Kendricks was a hit. Let's not forget Connor Barwin. That was a home run.
He's an outside. I'm trying to keep this into the discussion of 4-3 traditional.
Well, he was
4-3
outside, right? But he was a starting outside linebacker from 34.
Yeah, 34. So that's a pass rusher to me. Just like Marcus Smith, I don't count as a true linebacker. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he was a miss, though. Then Howie, that was a Howie pick. Here's my problem with, before we move on here. Yes, we've given them credit for some of the things that Kamu Grugier-Hill, tremendous waiver claim in 2016. Tulloch didn't work out. Remember, everyone wanted Stephen Tulloch at the end of his career with obviously he played for Schwartz in Detroit. He was done. Yeah, he was done by the time he came in. But here's the problem with the last 2 years. Look, Paul Warlow got hurt. Okay. Corey Nelson, I mentioned last show, missed. I forgot to mention this guy. Here's the big one. Not that he got paid a lot of money. He didn't get a lot of money at all, but he was a big name. Zac Brown, miss.
Yep. We talked about him in the last pod. Brown and
did we? No, we talked about Nelson. Oh, I did. Well, let's put it this way. Brown has always been an undisciplined linebacker. I don't know what they were expecting when they signed him. He was a major disappointment. Not from a money standpoint. They didn't pay him a lot. It's just that they were expecting more out of him.
Yeah, he just didn't play that well.
No, Nelson, Brown, LJ Fort, they have not been able to develop the linebacker position. This is why, as we finish this off here, Geoff, to me, they're better off drafting two guys. Doesn't have to be in the first or second round. As you mentioned in the last show, and I agree, third round it will be fine. We don't have any names yet. We're in February here for the draft. Free agency's up first. I know fans have asked me about Corey Littleton. Corey Littleton has been a great story of development, a former undrafted free agent in 2016. He's an unrestricted free agent with the Rams. He's an inside linebacker. And here's the problem with him, though. He's real small in terms of weight. He's under 230. He's between 227 and 230. He could run. He's a good player. He's durable. When you see, because free agency of middle linebacker or really linebacker overall is so weak, the guys are going to get paid. Or Owasso, the linebacker for the Ravens.
Yeah, good player.
Joe Schobert, if Browns don't resign him. But I think with Dorsey gone that they'll probably bring him back. Yep. Blake Martinez is good. And then Littleton's in that mix. Littleton is a good football player. Like, here's my question. If they're going to sign, let's just say for argument's sake, they're going to go after Byron Jones. If they get him, the early word could be 15 to 17 million. Why am I going as high as 17 million? If Jones has got 2 to 4 teams involved, that thing's going to jump, man.
Oh yeah, bidding war, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I remember making a bet with Olivia Vernon's agent. I lost that one. I gave it. I get Dave Canner. Yeah. I was working at ESPN then, and I gave him the number. He asked me what I thought. I gave him the number. He thought that was pretty good, and then I remember talking to him 2 days. Obviously, this is after they took the Dolphins took off the whatever he had, whatever tag he had, transition tag. I don't remember what tag he had, but and then all these teams jumped in, and the number went up. I think it was actually like 17 million. This is 4 years ago. Yeah, whatever it was, Jeff, it was enormous, and this is what happened. Right, and this is what happens. Free agencies, things happen. About it. Where you go, why? I never blame the agent or the player. Just if you get it, Byron Jones is a rare cornerback that gets free, that is high character, that's really a good football player. He's not great, but he's pretty good. There are going to be a lot of teams after this kid, and that number, that money could be enormous.
Yeah, no, it could be, and I expect it to be, and that's why I really don't think you're going to see a major upgrade at linebacker through free agency.
That's why I brought it up. Yeah.
Real quick, though, before we move on, Camus, Grugier, Hill, I mean, is there money now with releasing Brad? Would you bring KJ back? Because I feel like there's
just understand, there's always been money. The Eagles.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
The reason why I stopped talking about the Eagles with a cap, because there's never an issue. The only thing you could criticize them for, I was looking into this, putting together a list of players they've restructured. They're like, until the Jeffrey decision, they were like 9 out of their last 9 of correctly restructuring the right players who they know they're going to play and have high character, not going to retire. Like the Cowboys for years made so many mistakes. Right. But the Jeffrey one, it's not going to, that won't be resolved for a while because, hey, the CBA's got to get done. And we need to know whether June 1 rule, post June 1 rule is going to be still involved. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they could do whatever they want for agency. They're going to have so much money. It's not going to be a problem. It's just that, funny
with Alshon. When you fall hard. You're right. They were 9 for 9, and all of a sudden the Alshon one is like just one complete.
That one missed. I mean, unfortunately, now he did have an injury history, but their bets have been really good until that one. But getting back to linebacker, I just don't. I look at the history, and we talked about this probably a month ago. In fact, I think you put the title on it, Brown bagging at linebacker. That's been their whole story. They don't spend. This came from Joe Banner. When Joe and I worked at ESPN, I asked him about it. He talked about, and he's right, you build on the lines, offensive, defensive lines. Joe Douglas has the same philosophy. Howie Roseman has the same philosophy. So I don't see it. I don't see them spending more than mid-level. Could it be another Bradham type deal where you're not overspending? It's a decent deal, nothing special. Yeah, I could see that. Only one guy, though. You're not going to do 2 guys. When is the last time they've ever signed 2 mid-level free agent linebackers? Have they done that before, Jeff? Anything? I can't remember that.
Signed 2 free agent linebackers of decent
money?
No, no. It's been a long, long time, if ever.
I'm looking at my chart.
Might have to go back to the 70s on that one, my friend.
Brother, I'm looking at my chart here. Okay, Connor Barron was decent coin, but as you said, look, he was a stand-up outside linebacker. But for the 43 front, I mean, Dahani Jones they did once, decent money, many, 15 years ago, whatever the heck it was.
Right. Oh, I mean, they brought back Jeremiah Trotter, but I don't remember them in the same
that's
year.
After that's after Washington paid him. But what about what was I met this guy, Levon Kirkland. Remember him? I don't know if you recall.
Oh, Levon Kirkland was a damn good linebacker, more so with the Steelers.
Well, he got heavy, right? He was so heavy when the Eagles signed. He
used to be able to run, though, when he was a Steeler. He was a good player.
Jeff, I reported, whoever the hell, it might have been Scout.com. I think I reported that he was 280 pounds at one point with the Eagles.
Oh, my God. He wasn't
playing. He was really heavy.
He wasn't playing 3 technique?
I think it was between 270 and 280. I'm guessing it was probably 270. which he should. But he was much heavier late in his career. But you're right. That's just not the way they do things. So, folks, I get, our fans who are from the Philadelphia area, a lot of them who are over 40, love Buddy Ryan. They want the Eagles to spend heavy at linebacker. That's not the way to win in the National Football League. Look how dumb the move that Dave Gettleman move for the linebacker he got from the Rams.
Ogletree.
Yeah.
Alec Ogletree, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, dude, what are you doing?
I know.
Like, I know. It's just stupid.
I mean, the team that just won the Super Bowl is with Andy Reid. It has the same philosophy. They don't have linebackers that are household names, right? They had
Hitchens,
Reggie Ragland.
The only guy they paid, Anthony Hitchens, they overpaid
and they overpaid.
They paid him big. Yeah.
And it's not like he was a highly productive player for them for a while.
No, they just overpaid. But they right. If you look at their linebackers, it's the only guy they're paying. But let's finish this off. I don't see it. Jeff and I are in agreement. I see maybe one linebacker. Littleton's going to cost a decent coin, I would think. I'll check in for the folks of what's that?
Yeah, I said just too rich for their blood. I mean, it's just.
Well, I'll check into it. I'll okay. As the week progresses next week in Indy, I'll have a better idea. It's very odd though, because I would see the people at night that I need to talk to. The only problem is they're going to be in the workouts because the workouts got moved from the morning to night for television.
Right.
So being out at Indy at night is going to be fascinating because I have no idea who I'm going to be running into.
Right. But we will probably have a better and clearer idea of what's going to happen with Camus Gougier Hill when you get back.
Oh, yeah. I'm not worried about that. I'm just talking about guys from other teams.
Yeah. But I think that's, for me, I would put some precedence on bringing him back because, again, your best your most experienced linebacker and best one right now is Nate Carey. And at least this guy has been on the team and is a good player for them.
Well, by the way, he was the two best, I'm told by multiple team sources, the two best linebackers last summer were LJ Fort and Camus. Before. Okay, we know why Fort was cut because the linebacker coach didn't want him. Okay, that's the truth. Okay, that's exactly what happened. Okay, and then Camus was good. Unfortunately he had a couple. He had the concussion, and then he also had another injury, which is pretty significant. Right. It's not going to cost them a lot, and they're going to have leverage here. So I don't know why they wouldn't want him back.
We'll see. I want to get into what Adam Schefter tweeted, by the way, when he had put out the news that the Eagles were going to part ways with Nigel Bradham. At the end of the tweet, he wrote another notable cut, with more ahead in the next month. And I didn't know if he meant that was another notable cut from an NFL perspective with more ahead in the next month, or if he was
from I'm sure
an Eagles viewpoint. But you look at the names of the Eagles who are going to be free agents, or who are even in a situation where maybe they're getting like Bradham, or they either have an option or they're overpaid. I just don't see a whole lot of players that I think
I think he meant other teams around the league. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, he probably meant around the league.
Yeah, I'm going to give you. I have it. I got this week. Let me look over quickly.
But out of the ones that, as you look, out of the guys, Jalen Mills, Jason Peters, Vinny Curry, Ronald Darby, Jordan Howard, Nelson Aguilar, who among that group do you think is likely to be back, if anybody?
Peters is up in the air. That one, it's just a matter of are they ready to go with Dillard or not. That's all it means.
I just can't see him sitting him for another year. It's a crazy situation.
I agree. You and I agree. It's just do they think he's ready?
It's tough to say goodbye to Jason Peters. I get it.
It has nothing to do with it. It's whether it's Dillard ready or not. If he's ready, Peters doesn't come back. I mean, that's
but you say it has nothing to do with it. There's no way they can tell if Dillard's ready from an offseason. That's
no. They've had him since last April.
So then they should have a decision made. They should have a decision made by now. Then,
well, they should. Yeah, they just have to tell Peters and his agent where they're at.
Peters right now. So my point is, they either know from what they saw in year one, or they're going to make a blind leap type of we believe in his development. They can't know if they know right this second, then Jason Peters not coming back. They
should know. No, but my point is just it's either Dillard's ready or he's not to start. If he's ready,
so is he ready?
They have to. They know. They just have to tell Peters where they're at.
Right. That's my point. Is they know.
Yeah,
they know.
Yeah, okay.
And we'll know. If Jason Peters comes back, then that's a bad sign.
They know. It's just a matter of how they handle it. You're talking about a Hall of Fame player.
Sure.
Quite possibly. I'd have to look at, other than the Jaws transaction. I'd have to, because Jaws told me, I think they traded Charlie Young for him. Jason Peters is probably the best trade they ever made. I mean, you can't do better. This guy's going to be Hall of
No,
Fame
that's
player.
a tough one. Yeah.
I mean, this is an historic player. We know about the relationship with the owner, which really has nothing to do with the transaction. It's just it's strictly all, is Diller ready or not? If he's ready, Peters is going to play somewhere else, and that's the way he enters his career. So that's that.
Mills comes back or no?
Here's what I think. I'm sorry?
I would say up in the air, feels like.
I would say with Mills, the personnel staff really likes him because he's so tough. He's smart, instinctive. He just doesn't run well enough. We know that Jim Schwartz loves him. And Schwartz, despite all the things we said about Schwartz and how the defense needs to be better and all that, he's still highly respected in their building. I just think that there's a chance he comes back. If you would have asked me mid-December, I'd say no way. But just gathering intel on the Eagles, I wouldn't rule this out. And that's a Drew Rosenhaus client, by the way. So Drew's done a million deals with the Eagles over the years. Right. It's like exaggeration. So, but Mills has been a great story of development for them. What's that?
Yeah, only a slight exaggeration. He's done a lot of deals with the Eagles.
I know, not just the most famous one, the Owens deal.
No. In fact, I would say that taught them both that they needed to bury the hatchet and put things aside. Although that was more at the time Banner and Drew. But
that's
Howie and Drew have done a good job of
having
harmony.
They're both deal makers, Geoff.
Yes, they are.
Get stuff done.
They are. All right. Let's go. Let's kind of do a quick kind of. We did free agency, right? We divided it between offense and defense in part 1 and 2 of our last 2 pods. But I want to kind of talk about maybe like kind of a comprehensive attack here and maybe go through some guys who we didn't mention.
Oh, yeah.
So before we do that, I want to pause real quick to get a great word from our awesome sponsors. Hey, it's Geoff Mosher. Adam Caplan and I love using Anchor for our Inside the Birds podcast every week. It's so user-friendly, anyone can create their own podcast, and you should too. Just download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Anchor gives you everything you need to start your own podcast from your phone or computer. Its creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast for a professional sound, and Anchor will distribute your podcast for you to Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and so many other platforms. It can be heard by everyone, just like Inside the Birds. You can also make money from your pod with no minimum listenership. What are you waiting for? Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to create your podcast today. Hey, it's Geoff Mosher. Are you interested in money? Yep, I thought so. Well, on the Talk Money with Mesh Lakhani podcast, Mesh will follow paper trails, chat with experts, and break down complex ideas to bring clarity to the mystical financial phenomena and help listeners uncover the story behind their money. Each of these compelling stories will hit a broad range of subjects ranging from buying Bitcoin, dealing with student debt, and everything in between. So if you're interested in money, and I know you are, check out the Talk Money with Mesh Lakhani podcast on Anchor. All right, Adam, you mentioned at the top of this podcast that come hell or high water, the Eagles have to get more speed, right? Whether it's the draft, free agency, whatever, at wide receiver. Some of the names, you mentioned Stefon Diggs. We talked about it, very unlikely to become available. I don't know anybody in free agency.
The Eagles,
other than Robbie Anderson.
By the way, if by a surprise he becomes available, I don't see the Eagles trading for him. I'll leave it at that.
Sure.
Injury history. The Eagles are staying away from injured players. I'm just telling you, they're staying away from him.
Robbie Anderson is speed, but he's going to cost a lot of money, and we talked about him. So, is there a name is there like a bargain name that you like? A guy who can run a little bit?
Yeah. Before I get to that guy, what I find fascinating, I mean, I've been hearing for a year, it shouldn't be a year, I'd say 6 months, that the Eagles are going to do all they can to stay away from guys who can't stay on the field. Well, Robbie Anderson's had a problem staying on the field. Now, I give him credit. He played through last couple seasons some nagging injuries, and I'm sure some of that has to do with he's going to be a free agent. You and I talked about his off the field issue the last show.
Right.
This guy could run. I mean, he is their only, talking to personnel people, if they're 150 NFL receivers that could play, there are probably only 20 that could really run. He's one of them. That's why he's going to get a lot of money in free agency. Howie is going to have to be disciplined here. It's not a secret. They've tried to get him before through 2 different general managers. Really, it was really when Mike McCagnon where they really went after him, but they were just told he wasn't available. Right. So let's move on from Robbie Anderson. I'm not saying he's not coming in here. Every once in a while, Roseman surprises me. But the guy that I like, he wasn't available last year because he was an exclusive rights free agent, which means he can't leave unless the team decides not to tender him. Which the guy, any exclusive rights guy that is not tendered, almost certainly is a bad football player. So the guy that I like is restricted, and I just got this name on as a guy I've been aware of because I saw him at training camp when he was a rookie. But I didn't realize he was restricted until a team told me, because I know a team that's looking at him is David Moore, the Seahawks. Two things I like about this kid. He was actually drafted. In my notes, I'm incorrect. He was a 7th-round pick. What I think will either happen here with him is either he gets not tendered, or he gets tendered in the original round, where it's a 7th-round pick. Seattle, remember, he's never going to start for them because obviously Lockett, who signed long-term, and the big kid, Metcalf, has got to start, so he's a backup for them. And some games he got benched. They didn't use him.
Right.
He's actually inactive as a healthy scratch, I'm told, for a couple times. So he's 6'1". He's averaged 17 yards per catch, over 40 catches for his career.
Yeah, that really jumps out right there. 17 yards per catch. It's pretty good.
And Geoff, so I first heard about him. I was at a Seahawks camp in 2017, and I see this kid. I never heard of him. And I asked him, I said, well, why did he go in the 7th? Not a lot of production. Not a lot of people knew about him. He was a guy that they earmarked through their scouting. Wasn't a big man. Again, he was a 7th-round pick. They did a tremendous job of scouting here, and the other reason is East Central Oklahoma. That's why.
That's his college.
Okay, and I was. What's that?
East Central University.
I never heard of it.
No, I have not either until I checked it out. Right.
So he's between 6 and 6'1", I'm told, and I love him. I think I'm a big fan of his, and he's just one of these guys who every free agency someone small goes through the cracks. So he's a guy that, if you and I were running free agency for the Eagles, I'd say Geoff, I want this guy. He's restricted. It's highly unlikely Seattle's going to put more than a 7 on him. So we'll be happy to give up a 7. We're going to probably have around 10 picks. I'm sure as hell would love to give up a 7 for this kid. He'll start. By the way,
Mark Gastineau also went to East Central in Oklahoma.
Did he?
So he follows in the footsteps of greatness.
Really? Okay. I'm not going to look it up. I'll trust you on that one.
I already looked it up.
Good. Thank you. David Moore is a guy that could come. See, if you look at him and DeMarcus Robinson, Moore runs better. He's a little bit more explosive. So I'm just telling you, this kid could play.
All right, I'm going to take your word for that because look, the stats look pretty good. I mean, and again, to play in Seattle's offense, which is not you don't get a lot of time over Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and still be able to average 17 yards a catch. I like that. And that kind of fits in with what we're talking about with Howie not being a huge spender in free agency in the last few years and really looking for those bargain deals. That could be one of them.
It's a great one. Yeah, that's a great bargain. My free agency plan, Geoff, for them, because it's going to happen. It's just a matter of how they get it done. They're going to sign 1 to 2 guys who could run. They're going to, whatever they don't get in free agency, and this is how teams do this, whatever they don't get done in free agency, they're going to attack in the draft. Now, the difference between the two is sometimes when you go into free agency, you're signing a guy like the Eagles did in 17, Jeffrey, for 1 year, where they know that long-term they probably need other players. Then that's what the draft is always long-term. It's never about 1 year, ever about 1 year. Right. It's about for the totality of their career, where free agency is sometimes it's 1 year, sometimes it's a long-term deal, but it's only really a 2-year deal by structure. So folks should know that when the Eagles sign guys that are not young, and they're probably going to sign a couple veterans just for depth at various positions. So I would say receiver, 1 or 2 guys. They need a backup interior lineman, Geoff. I mean, do you think they could go with Matt Pryor as their top backup guard?
No, they need a veteran, and I think they will. Look, it doesn't mean that guy is going to beat him out in camp. Maybe you do go into, your season with Matt Pryor and, I guess, Mailata. But I would imagine that they're going to sign a veteran who can swing, play guard and tackle, and somebody who will make the team.
Yeah. So,
and by the way, I forgot to mention Big V among those players.
And he's one that's going to go. I'm told he's unlikely to return. It's not that they don't want him; they love to have him back, but he wants to start.
Oh, he's probably going to start a job. Yeah.
Yeah. So that ain't going to happen in Philly. So they're going to need out of a veteran, swing offensive lineman. We've talked about Jordan Howard before, but I just get the sense the Eagles like to have him back. I don't know where he's at. I think that he'd be smart to resign with Philly because I just don't think teams are going to. I think you had mentioned the last show. What's he really looking at in free agency? He's looking at a 1-year deal.
Yeah. No, I think that you make a great point. And if he's going to just sign a 1-year deal, then the Eagles can take the same approach next year that they had when they traded for him this year. And that's, let's hope he performs well, stays healthy, and then goes into free agency and signs a bigger deal to help us in the comp pick formula. Clearly, he didn't stay healthy here this past year, and that really hurt his chances of getting
that hurt his leverage.
Yes. So you might as well bring him back. Listen, Adam, you know this as much because we've talked about it. He's got to come back with the understanding that he's not in a committee any longer. He's part of he's part of the running backs, and he'll get some carries and maybe the closer
rotation.
In the
it's not
quarter.
A committee. It's no longer a
it's a rotation, but it's still a slanted rotation in favor of Miles Sanders getting 60 to 65% of the work.
So the way So what Jeff's saying is, like, coaches have told me over the years, there's a distinct difference between a rotation and a committee. Rotation is there's 3-to-1 time split, 2-to-1 time split. The starter gets 2 series, the backup gets 1. Sometimes if it's going to be what it's going to be with Sanders over the years, it's probably going to be 3-to-1. Once the Eagles internally have made this decision that Sanders is going to be the guy, there's no debate about that. Just a matter of, okay, if you bring back Howard, what's his role? Okay, he's going to be the backup. If you're up big second half, just like the Eagles did with Blunt in 17, he gives you the idea to handle a lot of volume. So that would be that. Now defensively, this is the one where I struggle. You brought up last show re-signing Ridgeway. I'm okay with that. I brought up Bo Allen. My understanding is he would be open to coming back. And I'll tell you what, this is my point. This is how much I've thought about this defensive tackle position. I would also draft someone if they're able to accomplish those two. I still would draft one because Cox is over 30, and Jackson just turned 30. He's coming off a significant injury. Why not have why not? The thing that they have not had, and this is what Schwartz wanted last year with Jackson, but unfortunately got hurt. They have not had that D-line rotation that they've wanted. Because remember, what's this? Long, they didn't bring back Long, which was a mistake. We know why. I get it. They wanted to rotate the young kids, let them play. Didn't work out.
Right.
Why not have a great
Trayvon Hester, who went to play for Washington?
Yeah, and they should have brought. You're right. They should have brought Hester back. So why not have a great rotation? That is how you win in the National Football League. You have that great rotation where guys don't get worn down and guys find roles.
Well, I agree with you. I'd bring back Bo Allen. I would try to draft one, but even when you have 10 picks, if you think 2 guys, they got to come out with some safeties, more than one. They got to come out with some receivers, probably more than one.
Corners.
So right there, you got to come out with some corners. If you don't sign one in free agency, you're going to have to come out with maybe 2 corners. So, yeah, you could say draft a defensive tackle, and they may draft one in the 5th round, but there's no guarantee that guy's going to make the team or be a productive player. But I do agree with you. It's a position that I wouldn't ignore. If there was a really good player anywhere in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever that you have on your board, and you're like, that's a good player.
Yeah, I want to,
because you got to rebuild that position.
I want an upside guy who could move, and that's what I'm looking at. Linebacker, I would, if they. It depends what they. This is the problem with the way the Eagles attack the linebacker position, because they've had, if they don't trade for a guy who could start for a while, like Ryans was a home run. Kiko Alonso, I didn't mention earlier. They had mixed results with him. Obviously, that was he was acquired. How did they? God,
they traded Sean McCoy for him, Adam.
No.
Kind of a big deal.
No. But I'm trying to remember. So he was traded in Miami in the Byron Maxwell trade, correct?
Oh, you're trying to figure out how they got rid of him?
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out
they traded him and Byron Maxwell to Miami to go up from 13
to trade for Wentz
in the draft. Yeah,
to get Wentz. Okay, so he was in the. We know that he was in the McCoy trade in 2015.
Right.
They got mixed results with him.
Worst trade in the history of the NFL.
Yes, but they got mixed results. Well, I wouldn't put it that high, but it didn't work out. That was the
Gotta be
Chip
top
Kelly didn't
five.
want him. It was bad because he had plenty left in the tank.
Mhm.
So they have to add 2 linebackers at a minimum. I wouldn't. I personally I would do 3, but they're gonna add 2. They can't. They just have to stop this only for 1 year. Just sign a bunch of guys like Paul Warlow. Go out and. This is what I said in the last show, and I want to.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't know what you're seeing. Like,
But to hear me out here. Corey Littleton is a guy that I really like of the Rams, who's a great story of development. Could you bring somebody in who might last more than a year here? How about what's so comical? And then people, I can't believe this, but it's true. Do you know that Najee Good was here for 5 years in Philly?
Yeah. Another. I think.
Now I'm not saying he was a backup,
right?
Yes, he was a backup, but to finish the linebackers off, just draft 2 guys who could play. I mean, just that could be here for years. I mean that.
Yeah, well, that I agree with you with. The signing 2 guys, I don't see that happening at all. Even if they do, I have no guarantee they're going to make the team. You're not going to find too many free agent linebackers for this team that are as good as LJ Fort, and for that money. And he didn't even make it through.
Well, yeah, but see the difference between that and what they should be doing is the kind of signings you're talking about, where they were depth guys who might be able to start, but they saw special teams players. Where I'm talking about, get a couple guys who are 25, 26 years old that their current team does not want to keep. Blake Martinez, Corey Littleton. Reggie Ragland, I like a little bit, but they
don't make money. Okay, I can see maybe
as
one
mid-level free agents. Now, Littleton's right up there. He's probably going to cost a little bit too much, but I'll find out for the folks to see what he's looking for. Then defensive back corner we didn't mention. I mean, it's real simple. If they don't get Jones, there's really not much else out there that I would trust. Bradbury is a good football player. He's probably more of a zone corner. Eagles play a lot of man. So forget Chris Harris. It makes 0 sense. They don't need a slot corner.
Nope.
Jimmy Smith's older. He certainly could play man. Trey Waynes is good, but he's inconsistent. Logan Ryan is a slot corner. Forget it. Bradley Roby I don't see it. Denard.
Let me ask you something. Does it even make sense to trade for Darius Slay and give up a pick when you can?
All right, so let's address Slay. Okay. Here's what I would do with Slay. You and I know, and our listeners know, that he wants a new deal. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That deal. The problem that Slay has is that the team that trades for him is probably going to have to give up a 2nd-round pick. It's not exactly known yet. I'm going to try to find out what the value is. The problem is whoever trades for him has to give up decent draft compensation, probably a 2, if not more. The Lions have a major problem if they trade him. They don't have any starting outside corners. And and as I mentioned last show, Geoff, Martha Ford put them on blast. If they're not playing meaningful games, they're getting fired. Well, the head coach is certainly getting fired because she basically said it without saying it. She's expecting them to play meaningful games. Remember, they missed on Tease Tabor, a former 2nd-round pick. That set them back. So if they trade Slay, and by the way, he's available. Okay, this is a fact. He's been available for a year. Just that they want too much for him. Now, if they're willing to, let me ask you this. Let me throw it at you. Would you go up a 2nd-round pick for Darius Slay and pay him $15 million a year? Plus, it could be more than that.
I'd be a little reluctant, Adam. I'll go back to why would I give up a 2nd-round pick and pay him the money when I can sign a younger Byron Jones and just pay the money without giving up a 2nd-round pick? So if I was out of options, if free agency comes and goes and I was not able to lure Byron Jones for one reason or another, then I have to reopen discussions with the Lions and see what I'm willing to give up. But it wouldn't be – it's not number 1 on my upgrade cornerback for the Eagles list.
Okay, let me add this. If you line up both players, Slay's a better football player. Why? Better ball skills.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree with you on that.
Byron Jones is a better athlete. Byron Jones also could really cover. He just is not as instinctive as Slay is. But Byron Jones is younger. Slay just turned 29 last month. I think Byron Jones is what, 27?
Byron Jones is 27, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a couple years younger. Byron Jones, very high character guy. And it's just a matter of, now he does turn 28, by the way. He actually turns 28 at the start of the season in September, a little bit past the start of the season on September 26th. He turns 28, but but he's still younger. He does have better positional versatility. You can move him around a little bit more because he's played the slot. But they have to do something. Do you agree with me? They have to do something significant at corner, finally?
Yes, I do think they have to do something significant at corner.
Okay.
Whether they do it, I mean, do you consider using a first-round pick on a corner significant? Or do you think more
hell
than
yeah.
that?
Of course it is.
Yeah, no, I think by either free agency trade or first or second round pick, they will be something. One of those three, if not two of those three, combination will involve the cornerback position. Absolutely.
So here's the thing with what they need. They need to come out of free agency in the draft, and based on my chart, 2 to 3 receivers through free agency in the draft, one lineman, probably 2 defensive tackles. Now, this includes, of course, re-signing Ridgeway. 2 linebackers, 2 corners, 2 safeties.
Yeah, that's a lot of basically defense and some wide receivers, which is exactly what they need to do. And I'm more bullish on safety. I think safety is as important as corner for them as far as developmental and starting to shape this team for the future.
They have not been able, and we'll address this on another show, but they're just an ability to get, I know this is 9 years ago, but the Jaquan Jarrett miss that beget Malcolm Jenkins. Obviously, that's a huge move for Howie. That was a home run for him. But that miss in 11 beget Malcolm. It would be nice to see them have a knockout draft for defense. It would be. The 16 draft was Howie's best ever by far, but they look, the last 3 years of mixed results. They just have to, with Andy Weidel now here, Anthony Patch is back. From what I'm told, they have an excellent scouting staff. I just don't understand why they can't just win through the draft. They don't have to win through free agency anymore. They have a very good staff. I would like to. Well, part of it is because of the lack of picks, but this year, Geoff, there could be no excuses.
No, and look, they hit on Avonte Maddox. Looks like a good player. We'll find out more about Sharif Miller going on, and same thing with Jannard Avery, a guy that they liked and traded for. So, we'll see. We'll see. I think I agree with you. Let's end this on this. This is a crossroads offseason for the Philadelphia Eagles. They are going through an overhaul. They're not telling you they're rebuilding. They're still trying to win Super Bowls, but they absolutely need to replenish this team with some good dynamic players who have speed, but also can play on defense. And we'll leave it at that. We'll see. And obviously next week, Combine begins. You'll be there. We'll launch a website. Everything's going to be full on out, Eagles 24/7, 365 as it always is. So we'll end it on that. And that's going to do it. Always want to thank our friends and our affiliates, 97.3 ESPN. Make sure you're downloading their free mobile app so you can listen to me, Mike Gill, Ryan Rothstein, 2 to 6, Eitan Shander on at noon. We've been doing it long for 97.3. Both got the number 1 rated show now in the afternoon, so make sure you're listening in. Thanks to our friends at PHLSportsNation.com, enhancing the fan experience with their coverage of the Phillies, the Flyers, the Sixers, the Eagles. They got podcasts. They got content all over. They've been doing some really interesting stuff on the Phillies lately. I was on the website the other day checking out a few of their Philly stories. So you got to make sure you go over to PHLSportsNation.com. And also, we got to thank our friend and our producer, Hunter Brody. Check out his YouTube page, Sports Talk with Broads. You'll find some of the most intelligent and passionate fan takes that there is on the internet. Check it out, Sports Talk with Broads on YouTube. Make sure you're following our Twitter account because we're doing another giveaway of some awesome Eagles knit socks. So just make sure you're following at Inside Birds on Twitter to make sure you too can be a winner in one of our contests and get all the big news that comes with ITB. And make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube page also, Inside the Birds YouTube. We're putting up a lot of videos, and Adam will be at the Combine next week, and I'm sure he'll be shooting a lot of videos of both Eagles and NFL press conferences and players and college prospects who are going to be the next wave of NFL rookies come April. So as always, we thank you for flying with us Inside the Birds. If you're listening to this, you obviously like podcasts, and you probably like music too. On Spotify, you can listen to all of that in one place for free. That's right, you don't need a premium account. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcast so you never miss an episode. You can download episodes to listen to offline wherever you are. You can easily share what you're listening to with your friends via Spotify's integrations with social media platforms like Instagram. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now. Just search for Inside the Birds on the Spotify app or browse podcasts in the Your Library tab. And follow me, Geoff Mosher, so you never miss an episode of Inside the Birds. Spotify is the world's leading music streaming service, and now it can be your go-to for podcasts too.